last time, so he's here to continue the torture, as it were.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You're pretty quiet, but I can hear you.
Let me test my headphones.
Oh, you're coming through a little louder now. That last when you just said "let me test," that was better. Let's do a quick audio check. Audio check. When you just said "let me test," that was better. All right, cool. Yep. All right. Nice. All right. So, if I recall correctly, Ethan.
Hello.
Yep. If I am not mistaken.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Ethan.
What?
Can you hear me? Okay. Hello. Testing.
Hold on. These headphones don't work well.
Gotcha. Don't use them then.
Hello.
All right. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so if I recall correctly, if I'm not mistaken, we left last time on something like a note of extended disagreement over what it means to be better or wiser, specifically wiser than someone. And I had a couple ideas after the stream about how to I guess, convey my point or my ideas on this topic more succinctly to you. So one of them is that I would say to you that I am wiser than you because I care about your life and your desires more than you care about my life and my desires. Although feel free to prove me wrong. And then the other metric by which I would measure, other than that one, which I think is a very good one, probably one of the best ones, but another valid metric that I would accept, or in other words, I would be happy to admit to being inferior to you in some meaningful way if you were to defeat me in chess. That's another thing that I'm amenable to.
You know, chess, it takes skill. You have to practice. It's a skill that you learn with practice.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So there's no point, there's nothing about wisdom in chess. It's more about...
No, that doesn't follow at all, son.
It's a practice. It's a skill that you learn.
No. That is not a therefore. That does not follow.
So it doesn't really matter, because you can have two smart people, but if one person practices more, they're going to be better at their chess.
Wrong.
Do you think a wise person could just play chess a couple times and beat someone who's played it for years?
I don't think that I know that.
How do you know that?
Because experience, quantity of experience is not, if that was the only metric by which games, the victories and losses in chess matches were decided, then there would be practically no point in having tournaments. Do you understand?
Well, I'm saying that it's not just about wisdom and who's better philosopher. It's also
No.
about
What you're saying is it's only about knowledge, and that therefore it's not about wisdom. Which is that. First of all, that would be a non-starter in and of itself, but it's also not true.
I mean, there's wisdom plays a role, but it's also practice. So you can't just use chess as a metric.
What? Say that again.
You can't use chess as a metric because chess also takes into account practice and skill, not just wisdom alone.
And is it wise or unwise to practice a valuable skill?
It depends, but chess isn't very valuable.
Oh, it isn't?
I mean, it can be, but it's not inherently valuable.
Oh, it isn't?
No, why do you think chess is valuable?
Do you know anything about it or not?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Do you know it's considered the king of games? Do you know literally anything about the history of its creation or its general purpose in culture or society?
No.
Oh, so basically you don't know anything about it.
Why is it the king of games?
Oh. Do you want me to explain it to you, or should I just tell you to Google it? I mean, this is a pretty basic bitch question.
All right, let's not talk about chess. Let's go to the other topic.
Cool. I mean, it's the same topic. There's just two different ways of measuring.
Why did you think that you have to care more about someone else's desires?
I didn't say you have to.
Why are you using that as a metric?
I think it's a objectively useful and almost entirely accurate metric.
Why? Where's the YouTube link?
YouTube link? What? Oh.
Yeah, do you have YouTube link?
Just go to my fucking. All right, fine. I'll send the link.
What's your channel name?
Arucard the Immortal.
Oh, Arucard.
But I'm sending a link. In fact, I'll tweet a link and then send the tweet to the chat. LOL. I have a new subscriber.
So why are you using that caring about people thing?
I mean,
What does that have to do
is
with
it wise or unwise to care about people? You tell me, Ethan. Answer your own goddamn question.
It's unwise to care about too much about one person because
Too much? Did I say too much or did you?
I'm telling you why it's bad or good to care about
No.
people.
It. We're not agreeing about what it is in this context.
Okay, caring about people is good. Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's good. And is it wise to be good?
But if you care about
Wait, answer the question, Ethan. Is it wise or unwise to be good?
it's wise.
Good, okay. What were you going to say?
Okay, it's wise to be good, but if you care about one person to the detriment of everybody else, it's not good because you're going to.
Oh, well, good thing I wasn't talking about that fucking shit.
Yeah, because if you're caring too much about me and you're thinking about, I wonder what Ethan's doing.
Yeah. You keep smuggling in the concept of too much, which is the opposite of what I'm saying.
So you're saying caring about someone a little bit, but not too much, is good.
So let's take the inverse. Is it ever okay to totally not care about someone?
No.
Oh, well, I'm glad we agree. How are you confused?
So, I care about everybody too.
Wait. But do you care about me as much as I care about you? And how would you go about figuring that out?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I care about you.
But don't you think there are easy ways that we could figure that out? Don't you think that's a pretty easily measurable metric?
Maybe.
I think so. I think it is. I think it is. That in my opinion, it is. What?
How do you measure that? How do you measure that?
I mean, the easiest ways involve money, but there's many ways.
So if you cared about someone too much, and that took all your time and money, you'd miss out on caring about other people, like millions of people.
What? That doesn't. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If I spent all my time.
Why are you thinking about things that are too much? I'm thinking about not doing too little. Why are you thinking about doing too much?
Because that's how you judge whether it's wise. How much do you care about someone?
Excuse me?
Because I care about everybody a little bit, but I don't care about them too much because then it would distract me.
Right. But you don't get to say too much unless you have some reason why you think I'm too much.
Because if I put too much attention on one person, I miss out on reaching millions.
Yeah, but you don't get to decide for me what too much is unless you're willing to state some sort of standard of too muchness.
Wait, too much for you for what?
Yeah, you don't get to use the concept of too much unless you're willing to specify how much that is.
What are we talking about too much? Like how much I should care about you or how much you should care about me?
I wasn't trying to talk about too much anything. You brought up too much, and I think it's ridiculous.
Because I'm trying to say why, whether it's good to care about somebody. Because I already said that I care about
too much of anything is bad. We agree about that, right?
Yeah, and I said I care about you because I care about everybody.
All right, but
I care about all humanity.
First of all, LOL. Hold on, one second.
Are you getting hits again?
What'd you say?
Are you getting tips?
Tips?
Getting advice again?
LOL. No, I'm getting a girl sitting next to me. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, he's hogging the couch.
Oh.
I just have to sit up. That's all.
So maybe you're caring about me too much, and I'm caring about you the right amount. I'm caring about you not too much.
Okay, well, do you have any evidence for that?
I'm just using that as an example.
Oh, well, yeah, lots of things are theoretically possible, Ethan, but that's not good enough.
What is your theory?
My theory is that my theory is that caring more about someone than they do about you makes you morally superior to that person.
Why?
Because given a situation in which you had total power over them, or vice versa, you would do better things to them than they would do to you. That's why. That's why you're a better person than them.
But that's not a realistic. There's no scenario.
No. It's never isn't realistic to some degree.
When would you have total power over me?
That's to some degree. It's never irrelevant. Total is irrelevant. That's not a thing.
But you're missing the utilitarian, because if I'm caring too much about you, then I'm missing out on caring about millions of people.
Yeah, so by that logic, the reductio ad absurdum of the argument that you're currently making is that it's never logical to care about anyone at all, ever, because any degree, even momentarily, for however briefly of a time of caring about anyone or anything is by definition a waste of time in which you could have potentially cared about more smaller things. Do you understand how ridiculous this concept is?
Why are you reducing it to that?
Because that's the fundamental argument that you're using when you say that. That it's just as ridiculous in the macro terms that you're using it as the absurdum that I just painted for you.
I don't know if that's the same.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So you should never care about anyone, because then you could potentially... If it's true that you could care about more people, then why would you care only about one person at a time?
Do you agree that you can only care about a set amount of things at once? You can't care about everything infinitely all the time?
Yeah.
Okay, so anytime you're deciding where to put said care, you are also deciding to not put it elsewhere. And based off of your argument that you should care about everyone, you're inherently not able to do that. Literally inherently.
Why not maximize the amount you can do?
No one said don't optimize. That's a different...
Maximize and optimize are two different things, first of all.
Well, he meant optimize. Yeah. He was trying to say optimize.
I'm not trying to care about everything. I'm trying to maximize and optimize how much I can care.
Maximize, meaning make the amount that you can care more?
Yeah, or make the biggest impact.
Those are two separate things.
We're getting a little bit derailed.
Yeah.
So, do you agree, Ethan, do you agree or disagree that caring more about someone makes you a better person than them?
Not inherently.
Caring more about someone makes you a better person?
I'll even throw in probably, not necessarily.
Probably? I don't even know if you can say probably. Possibly, not probably.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not inherent.
That's what probably means, not inherent.
No, probably means more often than not. That's
likely.
Different than not inherent.
Probably is more than likely. It's more than 0.5%.
Yeah. More likely than not.
Yeah. Inherent means 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's not inherently, it's not, or probably, it's possibly.
So probably by definition means not inherent.
No, probably is more than a neutral.
I didn't say it wasn't.
So we are disagreeing with that because we're not saying it's more than neutral. You can't say it's more than neutral because it could.
I think you're misinterpreting me.
That's what probably means. So I can't agree and say probably when I don't think it's probably.
Well, you haven't even described how you feel about it at all yet.
He did say that he thinks it's possible, not probable.
Yeah, because caring about people is generally good, but what I'm saying is I can't maximize my caring if I put too much energy on one individual.
What I'm saying is that's not a logical refutation of my point. Logical refutations exist, but that one isn't one.
Why is not?
Can you rephrase it, please?
I'm lost a little bit too. I forget what the original was.
Why is it not logical? Why is my argument not logical?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase your argument, please?
I said that if I put too much attention on one person, I won't be able to maximize my impact that I could have done on more people.
Right, and I'm saying that as soon as you...
Wait, was that the end of the argument?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is that as soon as you even thought the words too much...
Wait, hold on. Can you go back? Wait, that did not sound like a full argument. That sounded like a premise.
First of all, it was a totally tangential.
So what's the conclusion from, okay, so you said if you focus too much on one person, then you would be like detracting from being able to focus on other people or another or someone else. So what's the conclusion?
It's a waste of time to talk about too much.
It's not optimized. It's not maximizing my potential if I'm wasting too much time on one person.
Right, but
no, that's still not the conclusion. So what? So you decided to only focus on, like, the conclusion is, so, like, you decided on an exact amount that you're going to focus on because you are avoiding, focusing too much. You see what I'm saying?
So the conclusion would be related to the original statement, which was caring about one individual. Whoever cares about the other person is more moral.
By care, I mean whoever has more empathy for the other.
And I didn't get that. Like, can you repeat that?
Me?
No, him.
How do you want the conclusion to be? Do you want it to relate to the original statement, or do you?
I want it to be a logical next step from the premise. You said because you know that if you focus too much on one person, it will detract from being able to focus on other things. Oh. So what?
So therefore, it's not moral to care about one person excessively. It might be immoral to focus too much on one person.
Why are you making the assumption that
it's definitely immoral to focus too much on one person?
Why are you viewing it as a valid assumption that caring about you more than you care about me would mean that I'm caring about you excessively? Why are you assuming that you care sufficiently?
Or assuming that he cares too much inherently?
I don't know if I'm assuming, or if I've just stated a possibility, or if I said...
Oh, I mean, that's just what it sounded to me like you were assuming. So if you weren't, I apologize, but I do think you were.
Let me think about that.
Are you drinking mine?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hand me mine?
It's really complicated because I don't think you're caring too much, but I think I'm caring a good amount. But I'm also doing more.
Good amount.
Wait, no. He said. He just mumble rapped it a little. But Ethan.
Oh, a good amount. Okay.
Ethan. Those two things are mutually exclusive, zero-sum motherfuckers. They cannot both be true. Do you understand?
Why?
Wait. Okay. He said that he cares a good amount, but you don't care too much. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a zero-sum game.
Both cannot be true.
What do you think I said? Why can't they be true?
It can't... Both you carrying a good amount and me not caring too much...
Yes, they cannot. He can think that you care... He can think that you care about him more than he cares about you. And he can think that the amount that he cares about you is a good amount, but he can also think that the amount that you care about him isn't necessarily too much, it's just more.
I don't know if he even thinks I care about him. I don't know if he even thinks I care about him more than he cares about me.
All right.
Then why are we even talking about it?
Because I brought it up, okay?
Okay.
I want to fucking know. And I think it's a good way of measuring.
Okay.
So you care more about me, which is kind of good. It's empathetic. It's more human-like. But I care about you less. But I'm
Right, which is bad. It's more snake-like.
it's not bad.
LOL. That's funny.
Why you laugh?
I mean, it's just... you just
It doesn't make much sense, I gotta say. If
What doesn't make much sense?
okay, so he said...
Apparently we were laughing for totally different reasons.
Okay, so we were, I think. I think he said, so you care about me more than I care about you, which is good, empathetic, blah, 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 blah. Then he said, and I care about you less, and then you said, which is bad, Snake. Like, he was like, no, it's not bad, LOL. You literally just said that he cares about you more, which is good. So how is the opposite of that not bad? That doesn't follow logic, but... What?
It's not good or bad. It's just a different... It's not necessarily bad.
You know you sound like a free will denier right now, right?
No, it's...
No, you really do, bro.
How is the opposite of something good not bad?
It's not opposite.
Yes, it is.
Wait. Ethan, is good the opposite of bad, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
But I didn't say that I was doing the opposite of you.
You did though, because you said that
at least implied it heavily.
You said that Christopher You didn't say that this was for sure, but you were painting the scenario that Christopher cares about you more than you care about him. Those two things are opposite.
That's not opposite. That's not what opposite means.
It's the
Yes, it
same
is.
thing flipped. That's an opposite.
It's not opposite. It's just I care a little bit less. That's not opposite. It's
You
just
care-
a little bit less. He cares a little bit more than I care.
No, okay. The exact degree to which you might care about him less than he cares about you more, those two things may not be exact, but taking away the exactness, they are opposite. They might not be exactly opposite, but they are generally opposite.
Is it opposite if he cares more than me and I care less than him? Does that means it's opposite?
Yes. Yes, Ethan, yes.
Okay. I don't agree with that, but I can't really get into.
Okay.
Quote, I don't agree with that.
But I can't get into it. Okay.
I don't really want to. I mean, that's really.
What do you mean? What do you mean can't? What is this bullshit you're talking about?
It's just a difference of opinion.
Wait, that's what we're here for. Airing a difference of opinion.
Apparently, he
But it's
doesn't want
hard
to
to
air that
explain.
difference of opinion.
Wait.
I can't really explain what. Like, I can't think of how to explain why it's not really opposite.
What? Well, then
kind
you're definitely not as wise as me if you can't explain your thoughts.
LOL.
Let's just skip that for now. And
Okay. How long have y'all been going? Because, we have a time limit.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay, 30 minutes was the mark that I stated earlier. We
LOL.
might go longer, but it just depends.
LOL.
Okay. So, let me get back to the caring thing.
Cool.
So
This is fun.
you care more about me than I care about you, which is fine.
This never gets boring for me. Keep going,
But-
yes.
I care less about you because I care less about individuals. I care more about the greater whole.
Wait,
the region.
why did you say? What did you give a reason for me caring more about you?
No, he did.
Just because you're more of a natural human.
What does that even?
You're more of an empathetic, normal person. I'm more of a robotic, calculating guy.
I suppose we can assume that empathy is normal for humans. Okay, what else did you want to say?
Yeah, I'm less of an empathetic and more of a calculating. I'm more of a logical, rational person.
Right,
I'm
I'm
emotional person.
well. Sort of, not really. But,
Like, I think there's different strengths, so I don't think we can say one's bad and one's good. I think.
I wasn't even getting to that part. I mean, it's just, you are sort of snake-like, so if that's kind of what you're trying to describe, then I agree
What do
with...
you mean snake-like?
LOL.
Very, self-absorbed, aloof, I mean, it's not totally fair to snakes because I assume they're more coherent, but...
Then Ethan? Is that what you were talking about right now?
Yes.
LOL. Oh, God.
I don't know. I forget what I was thinking.
Okay, so
I mean, I'm not a big fan of you, Ethan, but I would say that I don't know if comparing you to a snake is insulting to snakes. I would at least go that far.
I thought I was your favorite of the group.
LOL, you did? That's hilarious. I hope you're joking.
Who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite of the group? Taz, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the only one who's been, like, remotely nice to me on a consistent basis.
So your moral argument about who's the better philosopher, who has more wisdom, falls apart because you just admitted that there's different strengths. And you just said one's not better than the other, and your whole argument was you're better because you care more.
No, I didn't say one isn't better than the other.
Oh.
I did say one is better than the other.
So you think your way is better than mine?
Well, I haven't even heard a way from you. All the ways that you thought you had weren't even ways.
I
don't invest in individuals because I'm too focused on helping millions of people.
You can't help millions of people without focusing on the individual
The only way to help any number of people is one at a time.
What?
Each person has different problems. I wouldn't say one at a time necessarily, but the best way to help them. Yeah.
Well, no, physically speaking, it's objectively true that you can only do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
How about if I post a tweet or I write a book that reaches 1 million people?
They're each going to individually read it one at a time, Ethan.
And buy it one at a time.
But it's not going to be my effort one at a time. It's going to be...
No. It is going to be your effort, instantiated in many different people, one at a time.
Okay, how about this? What if I do coaching calls for individuals, or I post a book or a tweet that reaches 1 million people? What is more impactful? How can I reach more people?
What is the substance of your question?
There's a difference between focusing on one individual, like in a coaching call, or talking to someone individually versus posting.
Everyone's experience is individual. And no matter how many people you impact, you're impacting them on an individual relationship basis.
You can also be impacting multiple people at the same time.
But it's many individual relationships occurring side by side.
I don't care whether it's individual or group. I care about the number of people.
Okay, and why do you think that makes you a wise person if you impact more people? Why is that crazy concept logical inside the thing that you call your brain?
I'm explaining why my method isn't worse than yours because you assume.
No, you're not.
Okay, did you say
so far you haven't even explained why your thing is a thing at all.
Wait. Did you ask him why is helping more people better or why is influencing more people better? Because obviously if a person actually helped more people, then they are a better philosopher. But if they just had influence on more people, that doesn't make you a better philosopher.
I wouldn't concede either of those arguments.
You got to concede the first one.
No, I don't.
I would at least say that if you helped more people, it's more likely than not that you are a better philosopher than the next guy.
Blake, what is more ethical, helping 1 million people or helping 10 people?
Is the more ethical person automatically the better philosopher, in your opinion? Because I wouldn't agree with that assumption.
Not necessarily. I'm just asking you, what's more ethical, helping 1 million people or helping 10 when you could have helped 1 million?
Obviously, helping 1 million when you could have helped. Obviously, helping 1 million is more ethical if you could have helped 1 million when you helped 10.
If you're assuming that the effort output is the same, which is a ridiculous assumption, then of course you would pick the 1 million.
Okay. So
But the premise of your question is flawed, obviously.
I don't know for a fact that is, but I'm leaning there too.
What did you say, Ethan?
If I write a book or I post in a Discord with thousands of people, or I talk to one person on an individual level, I could help that one person or I could help thousands of people. So therefore, it doesn't make sense that...
You have no way of objectively knowing which of those has the greater impact.
Exactly. Actually, it's more likely that you will help the individual and not the greater number.
Why?
It goes to the outcome of children who are only children versus children who grow up in households with lots of children. Children who are who are an only child tend to do a lot better than children who are born in households with multiple children. Also, children who are firstborn tend to do a lot better than children who are the last born or any others in the household by comparison, because you have more focused attention on that one individual rather than trying to focus your attention on multiple individuals, if that makes sense.
How about I write a book?
Ethan, I know you're familiar with the concepts of R and K selection, correct?
Yes. But what if I write a book, then
Ethan,
people read my book without me.
Which one is wiser, R selection or K selection?
Which one is wiser?
Breeding like bunnies?
Shh.
Or...
Shh. Ethan, answer.
Let me think.
He has to think about it.
Yeah, he loses just for having to think about it, but I still want to know his answer.
I prefer...
No, not you prefer.
What's
wiser.
better? Yeah,
wiser.
What's wiser?
It depends.
LOL.
If I want to spread my genes, then it's wiser.
I'm not talking about it depends. I'm not talking about...
Okay, what is the...
No, wait. I'm not talking about it depends. I'm not talking about circumstantial. I'm talking about in general. Average. Statistically averaging them. Which one is wiser?
Averagely, then the wiser one is the one with less babies.
Okay, so...
Right. And do you understand that means that you just told me that it's wiser to care more in general?
No, because I'm talking about a book that people can read when I'm not there versus individual talking to people. In
higher levels of investment on a per individual basis is more wise than the alternative strategy. That is what you, Ethan Anderson, just told me about R and K selection.
You're talking about parenting versus...
It's the same
helping
concept.
People is the same exact concept as parenting.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I can't scale myself as a parent, but I can scale
No one's saying you're a parent. You're just doing a very similar job that a parent does.
No, I can scale myself much better with a book than I can talking to individuals. That's just a fact. I can do so much more by writing books than I could by trying to teach people one by one.
I highly disagree. Highly disagree.
You don't think books can transform people?
Books do not resonate with people like a one-on-one conversation with a person. They just don't. They don't have the same effect.
Right. So
that's why podcasts are more popular, you see.
Podcasts are just podcasts aren't
They're closer to that than a book is.
How are they closer?
Because you're actually listening to someone talk.
What about audiobooks?
That's irrelevant.
What?
That's
An
not.
audiobook is
I mean, audiobooks are still closer than, but not really even, because most of the time when audiobooks are read, it's not read by the person who wrote it. So it's not exactly.
The entire concept, the reason podcasts are popular is because the concept is based on long-form, in-depth conversation. You know, high investment, caring about others on an individual basis.
Okay, so I agree with you that...
Wait, so even by turning this into a popularity contest, you're losing on the merits.
Let me just say, so if I wanted to have the maximum impact, if I talk to an individual for an hour, that would be way better than a book of mine.
No.
A book of mine, they might just ignore it or not understand
No,
it.
not inherently.
If you sell a book, and you write a book and it sells 100 copies, or you go on Joe Rogan for an hour, which one matters more?
Well, obviously you put the scale wrong.
No. You made a bad analogy, and I'm showing you how it's a bad analogy.
Oh, did he really sell 100 copies?
I'm just making a number up. Okay. What, Ethan?
What was wrong with my analogy?
I don't remember it now.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't wrong. I said if I talk to an individual for an hour versus having them read my book for an hour, obviously the conversation is going to be way more powerful. But the problem is scale. I can't scale myself. I can't duplicate myself like I can with books or podcasts. So if I start a podcast, it'd be more...
You're saying podcast as though that wasn't my idea. What's your problem?
It doesn't matter. Podcast or audiobook or whatever. I'm talking about duplication.
Do you really think that duplicating yourself is the mark of a great philosopher?
No, if I want to make a bigger impact and reach more people.
Reaching more people isn't...
Ethan, if you have a stupider philosophy than mine, and you successfully convince more people in your life that you're right than I do, that's a net negative impact on the world.
Well, obviously.
Okay, so I mean, it's not inherently a net negative impact, because theoretically they could have been infected by a worse brain disease than yours, but it's still a net negative in relative to the possibility of them having learned my philosophy.
Yeah.
It assuming that mine was better. So you do realize that in that circumstance, I would still be the better philosopher despite having influenced fewer people.
No, because why are you assuming your philosophy is better?
No one's assuming. It's just a scenario.
Okay, in this scenario, yeah, I agree. But what does that have to do with... In your scenario, where your philosophy is better than... But I'm assuming that my philosophy is good or better.
Uh-huh.
That's part of the assumption. That's why I want to reach more people.
Nope, that doesn't follow. See, you keep saying things that aren't connected to each other.
We're assuming that my philosophy is better, so I need to reach more people.
No. You're using reaching more people than me as the reason you think your philosophy is better. So, no. AKA, you still haven't given a reason.
No, I'm saying this is why my caring about you is not bad, and why it's not you, because you're the one assuming that you made the argument that I don't care about you as much, so I'm the worst philosopher. I'm saying why that's not true, because I'm showing...
Because I think empathy is the pinnacle of wisdom.
I think you should really start caring about how you reach more people, and not just that you reach more people in general.
Well, it's not about who reaches more people. It's about...
Look, if you think that your philosophy is great, you should want to reach lots of people. There's nothing wrong with that.
No one said it was entirely irrelevant. It's just not the fundamental point at all.
The fundamental point to what?
Who is a better philosopher?
Sure. I don't think he's talking about that right now. I mean, he's making the claim that he is, but he's not talking about why he is.
Yeah.
But he thinks he is.
But he's not talking about why right now. And you are,
yeah.
so...
But I'm trying to get him to say why.
I am debunking you why you said that I'm worse. You said I'm worse because I care less about you, but I'm saying why that's not true.
Okay, yeah, I heard your argument, and I think it's wrong, but then we were still talking about, yes? What?
Go ahead. I was going to say we debunked your argument about why you are better.
LOL. I debunked everything that you said, and I'm still doing it.
What? Like, what? We debunked what? We debunked what argument of his? What?
We debunked the argument that because I care about him less, I'm the worst philosopher.
We did not debunk that. We definitely didn't debunk that. We could go back to that.
Well, because I want to reach more people.
Okay. So, let me back up. So, you're saying we debunked Christopher's idea that, he was the best philosopher, right?
Yeah.
Because, what?
Because, just because I care about him less doesn't mean I'm a worse or less moral. It's because I have moral reasons why I care less.
But you know that I don't have more reasons.
Okay, hold on.
So you are confident, Ethan, that I don't have more reasons and better.
Wait, I have good stuff. Wait. Okay, let me just I gotta wrap my mind around this. So, Christopher is we debunked Christopher's statement that he's a better philosopher than you because you have good reasons for caring about him less than he cares about you. That just does not follow, whatsoever.
Why does that not follow?
Okay, so, first of all, Christopher caring about you more than you care about him has basically nothing to do with whether or not you are a better philosopher.
Well, that was his argument.
Can you clarify that, Christopher?
I've been trying.
Can you?
I have.
In short.
Empathy is either the highest or one of the highest virtues that exists. If I have more empathy for him, I am a more virtuous person than he is. If he has less empathy for me. The more virtuous person is more wise because being virtuous is wise. The more wise person is the better philosopher.
These are all general statements with exceptions. And they're not inherent.
No, they are inherent, and also they're general statements with exceptions. I just don't believe Ethan to be an exception.
Okay. You said. Okay, so this is connecting to the fact that you care about him more than he cares about you, right? And that is why you think you are a better philosopher than he is, because you care about him more than he cares about you,
yes,
right?
I have more empathy for him, yes.
Okay, you have more empathy for him. Because you have more empathy for him, that means you are the better philosopher.
In my view.
In general, yeah, the person with more general empathy is the better philosopher. I would definitely say that, but I don't think that that's the end all be all here. I think that what's the obvious thing that makes you the better philosopher is that this nigga had to think about it when he was asked about whether or not he should focus on individuals versus focusing on the group. That's just fucking obvious. So
specifically in the context of evolutionary selection, which is the easiest context in which to answer that.
Yeah, but also just in the specific context of betterment of people in general. If your goal is to help people, then
the more you invest in one person.
The person who has more empathy is the better philosopher. I can't really get behind that because a person can have way more empathy than another person, but be so stupid that they couldn't even make some philosophical theory, okay? So that doesn't exactly tie for me.
Yeah.
That's why I gave him the additional option of defeating me in chess. And then I would call him better.
Okay.
Empathy is not always good. You can have empathy for a child that dies in a war, and then you.
That's why I gave you an intelligence measuring metric like chess.
Intelligence isn't an inherent
You
factor
can't
when it comes to philosophy either.
Yes, it is. It's the other inherent factor.
You can't use these two separate factors and combine them and say, "Oh, they'll cover all the bases because this one is the opposite of this one."
They don't cover all the bases, but
they're
they do cover enough of the bases to be a complete definition.
No way.
Yes, to be a useful measuring stick. Yes, they cover enough bases to be a useful measuring stick.
They're both fatally flawed.
LOL. Fatally flawed. Huh?
And combining them does nothing. Combining them just makes it worse.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't think combining them makes it worse.
I mean, I couldn't disagree more.
Combining them does nothing.
Combining, if you're able to accurately measure both the intelligence and the empathy of a person, you basically are able to measure how much of a good philosopher that person is.
Like I said.
But you have to be able to do the two things together. Like, that's crucial.
No, you just have to be able to accurately measure both of them and then average the two values.
That's not as good.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It literally is.
No, it's not.
You would have to know how to weight the different values.
Okay, look, when you combine empathy and intelligence, they do not add, they multiply.
That's why I said you would have to know how to weight them. Yes, you would have to know how to weight them.
Sure, you would have to know how to weight them. Exactly know how to weight them. Yes.
Wait, empathy is not always good.
Yeah. Sure, neither is intelligence.
We're about 10,000 steps ahead of you, buddy.
So why are you saying empathy is a judgment of wisdom and virtue?
It's a part of it. Generally speaking, exceptions to every general rule, generally speaking, the person who does have more empathy is in general more wise, like he said, and the person who's in generally more wise tends to be the better philosopher.
Okay, but in my
specifically speaking, my definition of the better philosopher is he who is more empathetic without being less intelligent.
Then I'm not less empathetic. By that definition, I'm more empathetic than you.
LOL.
A what?
Can you please explain how, by any definition, you're more empathetic than me?
Because I have more empathy for the larger group. So
no, you don't.
You lose your intelligence because you're too empathetic. I am the right amount of empathetic, so I don't lose my intelligence. So therefore,
wrong.
By that definition, I am the wiser and more virtuous philosopher.
I'm both more empathetic and more intelligent than you.
No, because you're using empathy wrong. Like, if you see a child in a well and you put all your attention.
I'm so empathetic. It hurt me to tell you just now that I'm smarter and better than you.
Empathy's not always good. Like, if you see a child in a well and you put all your attention and you put all your emotion onto that, you're going to waste your time. Well, I'm going to be out there helping people. I'm going to be helping Africans with, mosquito nets. So I'm going to be...
Yeah, right. Because helping Africans with mosquito nets will definitely gain the world more nets than helping that child out of the well. Right.
So Ethan, after you give all those Africans mosquito nets, I'm gonna go make individual relationships with all those Africans that you gave mosquito nets to and sign them up to be employees in my company where they get to be millionaires. Does that sound like a bigger impact or a smaller impact? And keep in mind that impact is an irrelevant way of measuring what we're talking about.
You scaled it wrong, so obviously in that scenario, you do more than...
Right. Every time I pull a hypothetical out of my ass, I scaled it wrong. But every time you pull some complete gobbledygook out of your ass, it's supposed to be a reason why you're a better philosopher than me.
I can agree with the premise, but I'm going to disagree with the scale of it, and so the framing of it. You can do that to me as well. If you didn't like my analogy,
what framing are you agreeing with?
If you don't like my framings, you can...
No. You said you were agreeing with the framing of it, but not the scale. So
okay,
what framing
I agree with the framing of it because the way you framed it, you're making a bigger impact by getting personally involved, getting them jobs, which is more effort than what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm actually taking care of them, yes.
But that's not a fair comparison.
Well, it's just a reflection of me caring more. What do you want from me?
No, it's not.
What?
That's not what empathy is about. Empathy would be caring about, getting emotional about some emotional tearjerker thing and forgetting about the bigger picture. Compassion is better because when you're compassionate, you don't lose your sense of scale and you don't lose your rational thinking.
No one's denigrating compassion, Ethan.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'm more compassionate. You're more empathetic.
No.
But
That's a total... First of all, that's not true. Second of all, that's irrelevant. You're making a meaningless distinction right now.
So I'm saying that you are more empathetic, which is because you're more natural. But in this, we're comparing me and you. We're not comparing the general. We're comparing me and you. And
both of these words are euphemisms for caring. It is not a meaningful distinction.
No, I mean, in this debate, the debate is about me versus you. It's not about what's the general philosopher, who's generally more wise. Is empathy generally good? Yes. But we're comparing me and you. And to me, I am less empathetic, but it's not because I'm an evil person. It's because I am more logical and I'm more utilitarian.
Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? The man with the superior philosophy is the better philosopher.
Agree.
Okay. Define superior philosophy.
Superior philosophy?
Right. What is the definition of a philosophy being better than another philosophy?
What are the qualities
It
that
has to be more
What?
wise, more wise, more virtuous, and more impactful, and brings more happiness.
None of those are specific at all.
That's how.
Pick one.
What?
Pick one.
Why would I pick one?
So you can specify it one at a time.
Okay,
Pick the most. Pick the most relevant one.
All right, the one that brings more happiness
Is what?
is the superior philosophy.
Because happiness is the most important thing ever, right?
You said to be specific, so I say yes.
Okay, we can work with that. So
LOL. We can
I
work
had
with
more, but
that. That's shit, Christopher.
I can work with that.
Oh, you see, this is why I'm dealing with these niggas. Good for you, Christopher. Good for you.
So happiness.
Why? I gotta go look at some shit.
Why do you think that you cause more happiness than me? Wait, that's irrelevant. Why do you think your philosophy has more potential to cause happiness than mine?
We're getting off the point.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
You agreed the better philosophy makes the better philosopher. Then you said more happiness means better philosophy. So
Okay.
I'm asking you why you think your philosophy has a bit more potential to create happiness than my philosophy.
Let's see. All right, so we're going on a new topic. I don't know where we're going, but I'll go with it.
No, it's the same. It's the same argument.
Okay. Why does my philosophy bring greater happiness? Because.
Hold on 1 second, Ethan. D-drop.
because I am the happiest, and I've seen people be impacted by it.
Did you say something, Ethan?
Yeah.
What?
I was the happiest, and I've seen people who really loved my philosophy. So I think it's the best.
That's the opposite of a real reason or argument. That's an anecdote.
What kind of real argument can I make?
First of all, do you think you're happier than I am?
Yes.
On what basis?
Well, I was before I got COVID, but...
Okay, maybe we need to back up more steps. Do you agree with me that happiness is a choice?
It's a choice. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So if you're currently not as happy as me, you're choosing to do that, right?
Oh, not necessarily because of physical health.
So you don't agree that it's a choice?
Right. Yeah, it's not a choice. I mean...
I didn't say you had ultimate power over it. I said it's a choice.
At some level it's a choice, but it's not 100%.
But you have a very significant degree of power over it.
You have, yes, a large power over it, but it's not 100%.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you think so you don't think you're as happy as I am?
I don't know.
Well, why don't you know?
It's hard to tell. I don't know if I'm happier than other people.
What would you need to know in order to know?
I knew when I was extremely, extremely happy that I was probably happier than almost everybody else in the world, but that's from what I've experienced and from what I've talked about other people. But I don't know how happy people are compared to me. But I knew last summer before I got COVID, I was the happiest person I've ever seen. So that's why I think, because I experienced that, I think my philosophy is the best.
So you experienced euphoria, and therefore you think you're happier than other people. So you think other people haven't experienced the euphoria that you've experienced?
Yes.
Really? You really think that?
Yeah. Not without drugs.
But you do realize most people have taken drugs.
But that's a different thing. It's not real.
Wow.
Natural
no,
drugs.
You're delusional.
Why? Drugs, you can't maintain it forever. I can maintain it.
But you're not. Why aren't you maintaining it?
Yeah.
Just like the other thing.
What other thing?
You know, the thing you were saying it wasn't like?
I don't know what other thing.
I forget.
Yeah, I think physical health plays a role, but...
Yeah, but that's not the point.
I think my philosophy... drugs. People can't maintain it with drugs, because drugs are temporary, and then you come down, and then you feel worse.
Right. Every emotion is a drug.
I maintained it for over 2 weeks without drugs.
Okay. That's totally possible with drugs, too, so there's no difference.
Drugs make you feel worse and you can't sustain it.
No, that's not true.
They make you feel worse in long term.
No, that's not true.
Mine is sustainable.
No. Yours is no more or less sustainable than anything else. It's just that the you have a more sophisticated cocktail of drugs, and your body is more accustomed to the drugs that it was born to inject itself with. That's the only difference.
There's no way you can maintain it as well as I could with other artificial drugs.
You're wrong.
How can you maintain it with drugs?
You can literally synthesize the same fucking drugs that occur naturally in the brain. What are you talking about?
Nobody can do that.
You're wrong.
What's the drug called that did that?
LOL. Do you realize there's a difference between I can hand you a bottle of the drug and you getting to say no one can do that?
There's no difference. Nobody can do it right now.
LOL. That's not what that means. You need to use words in an appropriate manner, Ethan.
Nobody can do that right now. It's not possible yet.
That's not true. Have you ever heard of antidepressants?
Antidepressants cannot do that. Antidepressants just numb your emotions.
That's not... Yeah. Happiness is a drug that numbs the emotion called anger. You know, the drug anger, the drug happiness numbs the drug anger. Get it?
But it's not the same feeling. Antidepressants, you just feel dull. You don't feel super blissful and excited.
Excuse me?
You don't feel the same way as I did when you take antidepressants.
Well, that's because antidepressants are in a larval stage.
So they can't do it. Nobody can do it.
That's not what that means. Again, you're using words incorrectly.
Nobody can make the Ethan drug yet.
Which means it's possible and not that hard.
It's very hard.
No. Humans are pathetic and lazy, but making those drugs is not that hard.
It would be years away, even if every American worked hard.
Which means it's not that hard.
You're just subjectively using the word hard.
So are you.
So it's not a real good argument. It's not real useful. I think most people would say it's hard to create a drug like that.
Yeah, well, that's irrelevant because you said it can't be done, and that was...
I never said it can't be done. Now you're the one who just made up...
No. That was clearly what you said. This is why I warned you about using words wrong.
I didn't say it can't be done. I said nobody can do it.
Yeah, clearly implying that it cannot be done.
No.
Yes, this is why it's dangerous to use words wrongly.
Nobody, you know what nobody means? That means nobody who's alive right now can do it.
You have no idea. You have no knowledge of the truth or falsity of that statement.
Yes, because if it was, they'd be selling it and they'd be news about it.
Yeah, they do sell it, Ethan. It's called LSD.
And no. LSD is not the same.
Yeah, it's also not a specific enough drug. It's not a sophisticated enough drug, but it illustrates the point I'm making.
What point? What was your point?
Your distinction between the happiness you felt in your life and drug-induced happiness is a meaningless distinction, and it's pointless.
No. So,
whether you're sober or high, you still get to choose to be happy or sad, Ethan.
maybe, yeah.
Right. That's my point.
What's the overall point? What are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the better philosophy makes the better philosopher. And then you suggested using happiness as a metric, and then we haven't
A poor metric.
and we haven't progressed since because you refuse to be specific or concise.
Okay.
You do know that the point of a philosopher is not to make people happy, right?
That is the point.
No, it's not.
What's the point?
The point of a philosopher is to determine what's right and wrong.
Which, if done correctly, will make people happy.
No, not necessarily. People are stupid.
No, I think if done correctly, it will make you happy. In general. Not all the time. On average.
I would not say on average.
More than not.
Most people don't like to do, way too many people don't like to do or even acknowledge what is right.
I think they find doing it unpleasant, and then they appreciate the benefits of it after having unpleasantly gone through the process of doing it.
That still doesn't mean they were happy.
What's the point of?
No, I do think that counts as bringing happiness to them. What, Ethan?
What's the point of knowing what's right?
You
and
are
wrong?
underestimating the what is the word? Black people hate it still. On average, I'm willing to say that it's common for black people, even when they're made to do something that they know is right. And after they did it, they know that they benefited from it. They will still be bitter about the fact that they still had to do it anyway. And that's not even black people specifically. That's people and a lot of people in general.
That's Africans.
But it's people too. So
They hate education, even though they know they benefited. They still don't like education.
I don't know if that's Africans in general. I was just looking at some statistics earlier, and African immigrants do a lot better here in America typically than African Americans even do. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. But
well, it's hard to get to America, so you have to be exceptional.
True, and like when you're an African immigrant, they have all these policies in place where after the first 6 months, you're supposed to have a job in order to even keep like your citizenship or some shit or something like that. Like you have to be a productive citizen in order to even like get through the process. So like when you're an African immigrant, or I think an immigrant in general, the government will pay for your life basically for the first 6 months that you are here, and then after that 6 months, you have to prove that you have a job that can pay for your life instead. So it does show. I mean, like it's not a direct correlation because those people have requirements that natural born citizens do not have, but still it says something about the mindset of the two different groups. So
all right, let me read you a quote from a philosopher. He said, "Empty is that philosopher's argument by which no human suffering is treated." Empty are the words of that philosopher who offers no therapy for human suffering.
Right. I'm offering a solution to human suffering, and you're not.
You just said that the point of philosophy is right or wrong. I'm saying that's not the point of philosophy. I said because you said it's not about happiness, and I just said...
No. Deidre said it's not about happiness.
And you said it's not about happiness.
No, Christopher said it's about happiness. He thinks at the end of the day it would bring people happiness, even if they didn't want to do it in the first place.
Right, but the whole point of the argument started when I said that someone said the point of philosophy is not to bring happiness.
That's me.
Okay. Something like that. I forgot what happened, but
I did say that the point of philosophy is not to bring happiness.
Oh yeah, you said it's to bring right and wrong.
Yeah, it's differentiating between the two.
Yeah, but philosophy, a big part of it is relieving suffering.
I think it mostly explains suffering, not necessarily relieves it. That does give some relief, but not completely.
I think it's empty. If it doesn't teach people how to be happy, then there's no point. It's a waste of time.
I don't think it teaches people how to be happy. It teaches people how to be right.
Yeah, and the purpose of being right is to spread happiness instead of sadness.
That's the goal.
Right. That's the goal.
The goal. That's not necessarily what happens.
That's irrelevant. It's not what we're discussing.
I guess the goal of philosophy is to bring happiness. I just don't think that that's what it actually does.
That's also not true. It just doesn't do it enough, and you're focusing on the not enough part.
No. I'm not. I'm not thinking that there's anything wrong with philosophy here. I'm thinking there's wrong with people here.
Yeah,
because
that's
people
what I'm
don't
saying.
want to do the right thing.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying.
How did we get started on this point?
You talked about happiness and philosophy.
Oh. I forgot how it started.
I don't remember what you were saying then.
It was because I was explaining how my philosophy is better. So I got you to agree that the better philosophy makes the better philosopher. And then you suggested happiness as a metric, and I conceded that that would be an acceptable metric.
But I thought that it was bad.
And yes, and we're continuing despite that. And
I left, so.
And then I said something about asking you why you think your philosophy would create more happiness than mine. Has more potential for creating happiness than mine.
If I may interject, and this is just a side note, I don't think that philosophy is about happiness because I do not prioritize happiness over being right or wrong. So,
would you rather be right or would you rather be happy?
I'd rather be right, 100%.
Being right makes me happy.
In general, me too.
And it's supposed to. And does.
In general, yes.
It's the rule to which exceptions might be found.
Are found.
Same thing.
Did we stump him?
No, he's processing.
I don't even know what we're talking about. How did we get on the happiness thing again?
You were just describing it 2 seconds ago.
The better philosophy makes the better philosopher.
Well, we got on a tangent a little bit ago.
It's not a tangent. We're talking about who's the better philosopher.
Oh.
All right?
I think the tangent he was talking about was...
And if Dieter would stop fucking saying that philosophy isn't about happiness, then I could get you to answer my goddamn question.
Oh, go in a sigh.
Because we were going down a path and then Dietrich got us off.
Oh, yeah, it's all my fault. Just blame the bitch. Okay.
What's your question?
Why do you believe that your philosophy has greater potential for breeding happiness than my philosophy does?
Oh. Because I experienced it.
Right. That's called an anecdote, not an argument. If that's all you have, we're done.
What do you have?
LOL. I have the purpose of my philosophy is to make everyone's choice to be happy rather than sad the easiest plausible choice. And that will be the fruit of my philosophy in real life.
Oh. So you want to make the choice of happiness to be the
What'd you say?
The easiest. Why do you want to tell people how to choose?
What are you talking about?
Why do you want to tell people? Why do you want people to choose the way you want to choose them to choose? Why don't you let them choose how they want to live?
That's what they're currently doing, and it's not good enough. That's why.
Oh. Why is it not good enough?
Because there's so much unnecessary pain and suffering in the world, and the people with money and power could alleviate that suffering and make a profit by doing it, but they're too stupid to figure that out.
Oh.
I think
how are you going to make it?
I think that people who are wealthy have this idea that if anyone else gets wealthy, that it's going to take away from their wealth, which is stupid, in my opinion.
I think that's an element. I think that's a factor. I don't think it's the largest factor. I think the largest factor is just simple human self-absorption and laziness.
How are you going to make it an easier choice for people?
I'm going to turn everyone's identity into a cryptocurrency.
What? What does that mean?
And I'm going to govern them all under the loving auspices of a private corporation.
How do you turn someone into crypto?
Just like you turn nothing into crypto in the first place in order to invent Bitcoin. Same way. But
so how do you turn me into crypto? What does that look like?
It looks like I have your unique genetic identity, and I encrypt that into a currency. That's what it looks like.
How does that help people?
Because I provide them the infrastructure through the corporation I mentioned that is there for the sake of their governance, to be able to cause resources to flow to the places that they need to go to in order to alleviate suffering amongst the masses, whilst simultaneously ensuring that the people sending those resources to the places that they need to go will be duly compensated in time by the people that they're helping. It's an advanced form of lending.
How does the genes know where to send the money?
What?
How does the money know where to go?
My infrastructure, my company. It's organized.
So your company is the ones who decide.
It's voluntary, Ethan.
It's voluntary. I thought it was a philosophy, not a company.
It's a company based on a philosophy. It's the substantiation of the philosophy in reality. It is the vehicle for it.
So you're going to give people resources.
I'm going to teach people how to give people resources.
You're going to teach people how to give people resources.
Yes. And obviously do so myself.
But where is
and
the
receive resources, quite obviously. Yes?
Where is the happiness coming in?
The happiness is coming in at the expense of the suffering that is alleviated by this sharing of resources.
Oh.
Obviously.
What, Ethan?
Do you think resources determine happiness?
I think resources influence happiness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This doesn't sound like a philosophy that can change people's lives. It sounds like an idea of a business.
LOL. This
business
spoken like a fucking leftist libcuck, bitch.
Business can't improve people's lives.
It can, but it's not really a philosophy. It's more like a business thing.
Most businesses are based off of a philosophy.
It's actually not possible to do anything but that. But
I guess it can work.
Your books or whatever are just a business too, Ethan.
But the books are philosophies that people can live by.
Just like the philosophy that my corporation preaches.
And the selling of those books is a business.
It's no different. Functionally, in form, it's not different. Although the difference is mine is much bigger and more meaningful, but that's all.
Have you ever started a business, or are you working on it, or what?
Of course I'm working on it.
Cool.
Talking to you right now is part of that.
Okay, any other questions?
What'd you say, Ethan?
Do you have any more questions?
No, I think I'm pretty satisfied for now.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will...
Oh, I have a question. Why are so many fat people?
What?
Why is there so many fat people?
People eat their pain, duh.
Because they're pathetic people. Because people are mostly pathetic. That's why there's so many fat people.
Oh.
It's not because they don't think being fat is bad. It's because they hate themselves. And they're engaging in nihilistic behavior.
How do I help them?
You help them by becoming their friend, step 1. Step 2, exercising with them. Preferably in the form of a sport.
I think it'll be better if I try to make friends with individuals rather than just trying to spread my ideas like a virus. But if I actually make friends with people, they might like my ideas more.
Right, that's what I've been trying to explain to you.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, love you, buddy. Have a good night, okay?
All right, good night.
Yep.